Chosen one, come closer for a moment. Let your spirit settle, let your heart become still, and let your inner world open just enough to feel what is moving toward you right now. I speak to you with the authority of someone who has walked many spiritual valleys, someone who has learned to hear God's message in silence, in storms, and in the quiet spaces where the soul trembles. I speak to you not as a distant voice, but as an older, wiser guide who knows what it means to be chosen, tested, attacked, and protected all at the same time. And I tell you with absolute certainty, this message from God has reached you in perfect divine timing. You didn't land here by coincidence. You didn't scroll here by accident. You were aligned here when a chosen one is stepping into a season of breakthrough. The spiritual realm rearranges itself in ways that defy logic. You may have felt confusion, heaviness, emotional pressure, or even a sudden sense of being overwhelmed. But those sensations were not signs of weakness. They were indicators of a spiritual awakening that has already begun rising within you. This moment, this message, this alignment is happening because heaven waited for a specific second when your mind, your heart, and your destiny clicked into place. And now, here you are. Chosen one, the attack you recently experienced was not random. The spiritual warfare you felt pressing against you was not a coincidence. That wave of exhaustion, that sudden chaos, that unexpected problem, that emotional disruption, none of it was mere circumstance. It was a spiritual attack, triggered by your coming breakthrough. When your divine calling becomes active, darkness becomes aware before you do. The enemy senses your rising long before you fully recognize your own power. That is why the pressure intensified. That is why the confusion grew louder. That is why you felt spiritually drained at a moment when you expected clarity. Your spirit was not breaking, it was expanding. Your path was not collapsing, it was shifting. You were not being destroyed, you were being awakened. This is the part most chosen ones don't realize. The attack is the announcement. It is the silent alarm that your spiritual rank is increasing and your breakthrough is near. When you felt that shift, that heaviness, that resistance, it was confirmation that your destiny was being pulled into a higher alignment. God's message has been trying to reach you, and this moment right now is your sign that you are finally ready to hear it. You are under divine protection. Even when you felt exposed, overwhelmed, or off balance, you were being shielded. God allowed you to feel the tension of the spiritual attack, not to scare you, but to show you the weight of the breakthrough you are stepping into. This is not the end of your strength. This is the beginning of your awakening. And the message you are hearing now is not a coincidence. It is God's confirmation that everything you felt, every battle you faced, every moment you questioned yourself was part of your elevation. Chosen one, if you already feel the stirring in your spirit, if you feel the alignment settling into your soul, even now, comment 777 to acknowledge it once. Feel that inner recognition. That is your spirit responding, your calling activating, your awakening unfolding. Understand this clearly. The spiritual attack before a breakthrough is always the most intense, because it is the moment the enemy realizes you are no longer who you were. You have outgrown an old identity. You have risen out of an old spiritual frequency. You have stepped into a level of divine awareness that darkness cannot manipulate. That is why the attacks came suddenly, aggressively, without warning. It was the last attempt to shake you before you stepped into the truth of who you are. And now, in this divine timing, with this divine alignment, this message arrives to prepare you for what comes next. You are stepping into revelation. You are stepping into clarity. You are stepping into a deeper understanding of your divine calling. In the next parts, you will learn why you were targeted, why you were protected, and why your spiritual awakening is unfolding exactly as it should. Breathe, chosen one, you are safe, you are aligned, and you are ready for what God is about to reveal. The secret shift: when heaven promoted you quietly, chosen one, there comes a moment in every spiritual life when heaven moves before you do, when the spiritual realm rearranges itself long before the earth catches up. That is the moment of divine elevation, the moment when your spiritual rank increases without a sound, without an announcement, without a single sign that the world can see. It is a quiet moment, a sacred moment, a hidden moment that only your spirit can detect. This is the reality of being the chosen one. You do not rise in the ways the world expects. You rise in silence. You rise in spirit. You rise because God has seen something in you that others cannot. And when heaven promotes you, it rarely comes with the fanfare of human approval. It comes with a stillness that speaks louder than any applause. To be the chosen one means that your elevation is never public before it is spiritual. God changes your season internally before shifting your life externally. The divine elevation you stepped into did not come from people, titles, or recognition. It came from endurance, character, and the quiet strength you built through trials no one else knew about. The spiritual realm witnessed your growth, your resilience, your refusal to break, and heaven responded with promotion. This kind of elevation does not need an audience, because it is rooted in purity and purpose, not performance. And when God moves like this, the earth will only understand later, when the physical begins to reflect what has already been established in the unseen. The spiritual realm always operates quietly. Heaven shifts things before earth notices. That is why you felt changes before you understood them. That is why your emotions became heavier or sharper for no explainable reason. That is why you felt like something inside you had shifted, even when your life looked exactly the same. These energetic sensations were not random. They were confirmation that your spirit had stepped into a higher frequency. You may have felt a sudden disconnect from certain people, a desire for solitude, a sharper intuition, or an emotional clarity that came out of nowhere. These sensations were not signs of instability, they were signs of elevation. When God elevates you spiritually, it does not begin with blessings or breakthroughs. It begins with inner expansion. Divine elevation is triggered when your heart matures enough to carry greater spiritual weight. It happens when you learn patience in chaos, when you choose compassion over anger, when you refuse to lose yourself even while being attacked. God watches your responses, your intentions, your humility, your growth, and when your character rises to a new level, heaven responds with spiritual promotion. You do not earn this through perfection, you earn it through endurance. Every time you resisted bitterness, every time you held on to faith, every time you protected your soul instead of surrendering to darkness, your spirit was gaining rank. Divine promotions are never dramatic because heaven protects what it values. If God announced your spiritual rank publicly before you were ready, you would attract interference you are not prepared to handle. Silence is protection. Stillness is preservation. Secrecy is spiritual strategy. When heaven promotes you quietly, it shields your growth from the eyes of those who would misunderstand it, envy it, attack it, or try to sabotage it. God elevates the chosen one in silence because darkness listens more closely than people do. A loud elevation invites warfare prematurely, but a silent one strengthens you before the battle reaches you. During these silent moments of divine elevation, your spiritual authority increases in ways you may not consciously recognize. You begin to speak with more clarity, even if your voice is soft. Your presence carries more weight, even if you say nothing. Your spirit commands more respect, even from those who do not know why. You begin to see through illusions, sense the intentions of others, and feel shifts in environments instantly. This authority does not come from pride. It comes from alignment. It comes from carrying God's message within you more deeply than before. It comes from spiritual maturity that darkness cannot shake. Your inner transformation during this elevation is unmistakable. Your intuition becomes more accurate, guiding you away from danger and toward alignment. Your emotional clarity increases, allowing you to release what once held you captive. You become disconnected from meaningless distractions, not because you are cold, but because your spirit can no longer waste energy on what does not match your divine calling. Your sensitivity to energy heightens, making you more aware of spiritual attacks, spiritual assignments, and spiritual guidance. This heightened perception is not a burden, it is a sign of your awakening. It is proof that your soul has stepped into a higher dimension. What you are experiencing is the beginning of your silent awakening. This is the chapter where God reshapes your identity without asking for your permission to do so. This awakening strips away what is false, reveals what is real, and leads you toward who you were always meant to become. It is a hidden chapter, a private transformation, a moment of deep spiritual refinement. In this phase, God strengthens your foundation because the destiny ahead of you is too great to be built on anything unstable. You are not being isolated, you are being prepared. You are not being emptied, you are being cleared. You are not being forgotten, you are being chosen more deeply. And now, chosen one, circle back to the truth that started this entire shift. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the changes inside you. You are not exaggerating the battles you faced. You are not mistaken for feeling called, pressured, stretched, or awakened. You were called, you were elevated. You were promoted in the silence of heaven because your path requires strength that only a warrior of light can carry. The war is real. The awakening is real. And your light is necessary. You are stepping into a higher spiritual identity, and everything inside you is adjusting to match the greatness that God has placed on your life. If this touched your soul, comment 1. 2. The proof of your divine calling, signs your rank has risen. Chosen one, when heaven elevates you, the world feels it before you understand it. A spiritual promotion is never invisible, even when it happens in silence. The shift within you becomes a shift around you, and life begins to respond to your new spiritual rank in ways you cannot ignore. This is the proof of your divine calling. This is how you know your spiritual awakening has deepened and your authority in the unseen has expanded. You may not have announced anything. You may not have changed your appearance, your environment, or your routines. Yet somehow, people sense something different. They feel the new presence you carry, the new weight in your spirit, the new clarity in your energy. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. This is God revealing the transformation that already happened in the invisible realm. When a chosen one receives a divine elevation, the world reacts instinctively. People sense your new authority even when you say nothing. Some will suddenly show you more respect without understanding why. Some will become quiet around you, watching you as though you've stepped into a new form of spiritual identity. And some will feel intimidated because your spirit now carries a strength that exposes the weakness in others. You may notice people looking at you differently, either with honor or with discomfort. That reaction is not about your surface, it is about your spirit. Your presence has shifted, your energy is sharper, your soul is speaking more loudly even if your mouth remains silent. But with elevation also comes resistance. Low vibration individuals, those who operate from insecurity, jealousy, ego, or spiritual immaturity, may suddenly react to you with irritation or tension. People who once tolerated you may now feel threatened by you. Individuals who once ignored you may now oppose you for no logical reason. This unexpected resistance is one of the clearest signs that your spiritual rank has risen. Darkness senses authority. Lower energies sense higher vibrations. People who are spiritually disconnected react to the light within you because it reveals what they have been trying to hide. Do not take their behavior personally. It is not you they are reacting to. It is the divine calling on your life that their spirit cannot ignore. You may also notice a sudden clarity in your decision-making. Choices that once confused you now feel simple. You stop second-guessing yourself. Your intuition becomes crisp and direct, almost like a spiritual navigation system guiding you toward alignment. This clarity is a sign that your spiritual understanding has grown stronger. You are no longer led by emotion, attachment, or fear. You are being led by purpose. Your mind is becoming disciplined, your heart is becoming grounded, and your spirit is becoming decisive. This shift does not come from logic, it comes from heaven. It is God refining your inner compass so you can move confidently in your new level of authority. Along with clarity, your intuition begins to accelerate. You sense things before they happen. You feel energy shifts instantly. You recognize hidden intentions without needing evidence. You hear spiritual truth in silence. This rapid intuition is not imagination. It is the direct result of spiritual rank. The more awake you become, the more you access divine insight. This is why your inner knowing has become stronger. This is why you feel information before you process it. God is communicating more clearly now because your spiritual maturity has reached a level where you can handle deeper revelations. Another sign of your rising rank is the increasing desire for solitude. You may find yourself withdrawing from social noise, distancing from distractions, or craving quiet moments where your spirit can breathe. This is not isolation. This is alignment. As your divine calling intensifies, your soul naturally pulls you away from environments that no longer match your frequency. You are being separated for refinement, not abandonment. Solitude becomes a sanctuary where God pours new wisdom and new strength into you. You may not always understand why you suddenly need space, but the reason is simple. Elevation requires separation. Promotion requires purification. The chosen one becomes quieter not because they are lost, but because they are being prepared. You may also feel disconnected from old cycles, old habits, old relationships, old patterns of thinking, old fears, old emotional triggers. What once attracted you now feels heavy. What once entertained you now feels meaningless. What once drained you now becomes easy to release. This disconnection is not apathy, it is transformation. Your spirit no longer tolerates what is beneath your calling. God is clearing your path by removing what cannot follow you into your new level. This strange sense of detachment is one of the greatest proofs that your spiritual rank has risen. The things that once controlled you have lost their power, and the things that once held you are losing their grip. None of these signs are coincidences. These are confirmations of divine calling. These are heaven's way of telling you, you have risen. The chosen one does not guess their awakening. They recognize it by the changes happening within and around them. God reveals new assignments, new responsibilities, and new inner missions after promotion. You may feel a sudden urge to help others, guide others, or protect energies that you once ignored. You may feel called to speak truths you once hesitated to express. You may sense a deeper responsibility to live with integrity, compassion, and purpose. This new sense of spiritual duty is a direct result of your elevation. God is trusting you with more because you have proven you can handle more. At this new level, spiritual maturity becomes essential. You cannot react the way you used to. You cannot argue with shadows. You cannot waste your time explaining your growth to those who are spiritually asleep. You must learn to move with wisdom, patience, and discernment. Your journey is no longer about survival. It is about embodiment. You are becoming the version of yourself that God always intended you to be. This maturity is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of it. It is the awareness that your spirit has risen above what once held you captive. Everything you are experiencing is part of your spiritual awakening. None of this is confusion. This is transformation. This is alignment. This is elevation. And whether you fully understand it or not, your life is already reflecting the new rank you carry. Your energy is different. Your discernment is sharper. Your presence is stronger. Your spirit is clearer. Your path is higher. Your purpose is calling loudly, and your soul is answering. Chosen one, circle back to the deepest truth of all. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the shift within you. You are not fabricating the signs you've been seeing. You are not mistaken for feeling chosen, pressured, stretched, or awakened. You were called. You have risen into a higher spiritual identity. The war is real. The awakening is real. And your light is necessary. You carry authority now, authority that was built through struggle, refined through silence, and crowned by God Himself. If this touched your soul, comment Avon 11. Because you know it, you were called. 3. Walking in your new power. The responsibilities of a chosen one. When heaven elevates you, it is never just for your comfort, your validation, or your pride. A divine elevation is a sacred assignment, and the moment your spiritual rank rises, the weight of your calling begins to settle into your soul in ways you can feel but cannot fully explain. This is the stage where the chosen one walks into a new dimension of purpose, strength, and awareness, not because they asked for power, but because God decided they were ready to carry it. And even if you still feel unsure, overwhelmed, or unqualified, heaven is already treating you according to the level you have quietly ascended to. This is the phase where your spiritual awakening deepens, where you begin to understand that your life is no longer operating on the frequency it once did. This is the stage where you learn to move with intention, humility, and divine consciousness, because you now walk in a rank the world has not yet seen, but the spirit realm fully recognizes. Every new spiritual rank comes with responsibilities, and a chosen one cannot walk the same way they did before elevation. When God lifts you, He also entrusts you with greater vision, deeper intuition, and more profound influence, even if you are not aware of it yet. There is a shift from reaction to discernment, from responding emotionally to responding spiritually, from chasing validation to guarding your energy with reverence. You begin to realize that every conversation is no longer harmless, every environment is no longer neutral, and every connection carries spiritual implications. Your divine calling requires you to be mindful, intentional, and spiritually awake in every step you take. You become responsible for the way you carry your light, because your light now reaches further than before. One of the first responsibilities of a divinely elevated soul is protecting your energy. When a spiritual rank increases, the sensitivity of your spirit becomes heightened, and you feel the weight of energies, motives, and intentions around you more intensely. You cannot ignore what you feel anymore because your discernment has matured. God has refined your inner knowing, and now you sense what you once overlooked. You feel when someone's presence drains you. You feel when a room's atmosphere is wrong. You feel when a conversation has a hidden intention beneath the words. This new spiritual authority requires you to guard your space, manage your connections, and choose familiarity carefully. You no longer accept everyone's access, because not everyone can handle the vibration you carry. Guarding your spiritual authority becomes another sacred duty. Once heaven has marked you, Darkness becomes aware of you in new ways. This is not to create fear, but to reveal reality. Every chosen one becomes a threat to spiritual forces that once felt comfortable around them. When your rank rises, interference increases, distractions intensify, and tests appear disguised as opportunities. But part of walking in your new power is understanding that not every attack is a setback. Many are confirmations of who you have become. You must learn to stand firm, to speak life over yourself, to call on God's guidance, and to remember that your authority does not come from your human strength, but from the divine mantle placed upon you. You were elevated for a reason, and heaven expects you to honor the spiritual authority now resting on your life. Listening to God's message consistently becomes essential. A chosen one cannot rely on old instructions while walking in a new season. When God elevates you, He also updates your steps. You begin to hear Him in subtler ways, through intuition, dreams, symbols, synchronicities, and moments of sudden clarity. You feel Him guiding your decisions, redirecting your paths, and warning you before something unfolds. Part of your duty is keeping your spiritual ears open, remaining sensitive, and staying aligned with His voice even when it contradicts your comfort or your expectations. Divine calling requires obedience, and every new spiritual level demands deeper spiritual listening. Honor the divine calling placed on your life. This means recognizing that your purpose is no longer optional or secondary. You were chosen for a reason. Your presence shifts rooms. Your words awaken dormant spirits. Your energy disrupts darkness. Your resilience intimidates forces that once thought they would break you. Honoring your calling means acknowledging your own importance in the spiritual landscape. It means accepting that your life is bigger than your fears, larger than your wounds, and more powerful than your past. You do not walk lightly anymore. You walk with heaven behind you. As your vibration rises, certain people, environments, and conversations no longer match you. You feel it. You sense the disconnect. You recognize that some individuals cannot go where you are going because their intentions, habits, or energies are not aligned with your future. Old cycles feel foreign. Old patterns feel heavy. Old connections feel spiritually incompatible. This is not a loss. It is confirmation of ascension. God is pruning your surroundings to match the elevation He placed within you. You must trust these separations, even when they feel uncomfortable, because they are part of the silent preparation for your next assignment. And yes, there are emotional challenges to carrying higher spiritual weight. Being elevated does not eliminate pressure. It increases responsibility. You feel moments of isolation, moments of spiritual fatigue, moments where the world feels heavier than before. But remember this: elevation also brings provision. God strengthens the vessel He chooses. The silent awakening within you is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to reshape you, fortify you, and unveil a version of yourself you have not met yet. You are expanding spiritually, and expansion always comes with stretching. Trust God's timing. Trust that every shift, every separation, every inner transformation is purposeful. Walking in your new power does not require perfection. It requires willingness. Heaven has already acknowledged you. The spiritual realm already recognizes your rank. Even when the world has no idea what changed, God knows exactly who you are becoming. You were chosen long before you understood it, and you are being guided even when you cannot see the full path ahead. Circle back to the beginning. This is a message from God. You are not imagining this transformation. You are not overthinking your growth. You were called. The war around you is real, but so is the divine fire inside you. The world needs your light, your strength, your clarity, your awakening. You were elevated quietly because you were meant to rise spiritually before rising visibly. Heaven sees you. Heaven backs you. Heaven trusts you. If this touched your soul, comment to 111. Because you know it, you were called. Conclusion. This is the moment where everything circles back to the truth your spirit recognized from the very beginning. This is a message from God, sent to you with precision, timing, and divine intention. Nothing about this encounter has been accidental. Nothing you felt while reading was imagined. You were called because you are the chosen one, and your soul was ready to receive what heaven has been preparing you for in silence. Your spiritual awakening has entered a deeper phase, and your divine calling has begun to unfold in ways that cannot be reversed, denied, or ignored. You are walking in a new identity now, a quietly elevated rank that the spiritual realm has already acknowledged, even if the world has not caught up yet. Your spiritual rank has risen, and everything inside you knows it. You feel the shift in your intuition, in your clarity, in the way you perceive the world around you. You sense the subtle changes in your heart, your thoughts, your energy, and your atmosphere. What once distracted you no longer holds weight. What once drained you no longer has access. What once confused you now appears transparent. This is what happens when heaven promotes you quietly. Your inner world changes before your outer world reflects it, and now you stand in the sacred space between who you were and who you are becoming, aware that nothing in your life will ever feel the same again. This message was a divine elevation delivered in perfect timing. God waited for this moment, this exact moment, because your spirit had finally reached the maturity, strength, and readiness to understand what He has been shaping within you. Everything you survived, everything you endured, everything you outgrew was preparation for the rank you now carry. Every silent battle strengthened you. Every unseen tear purified you. Every setback refined you. Heaven did not overlook a single detail, and now you walk with a spiritual authority that reveals the truth. You were chosen long before you realized it. Walk forward in confidence now. Walk with alignment, with intention, and with the awareness that you are no longer who you used to be. Your identity has shifted. Your purpose has expanded. Your spirit has awakened. The silent awakening you are experiencing is not an ending, but a beginning. The beginning of the version of you that God always intended to rise. You are stepping into a higher calling, a deeper clarity, and a more powerful expression of your divine purpose. And even if the world does not applaud you, heaven already has. Receive this final blessing with an open heart. May every step you take from this moment forward be guided by divine wisdom and protected by divine light. May your intuition sharpen, your courage strengthen, and your spirit remain anchored in truth. May you walk boldly in your divine calling, knowing you carry light that darkness cannot silence. May the doors meant for you open effortlessly, and may every assignment heaven releases find you prepared and willing. You are blessed. You are elevated. You are chosen. Circle back to the beginning one last time. This is a message from God. You are not imagining this shift. You were called. The war is real, but so is your power. Your light is necessary, and your journey is just beginning. Step into your purpose with faith, with fire, and with the certainty that you are guided every single moment. If this touched your soul, comment or 111. Because you know it, you were called.